Hey loves, welcome back to TigeraGitana. I am pausing for a second from doing readings because I'm currently finishing up on the natal chart readings to answer a question I saw on one of my comments of my videos, and I believe it was, how do you know when it's working, or how it's supposed to feel when it's working, or how do you, like, basically the whole point of the question is like saying, like, how do you know when a spell is working, or how do you know when, I think it was specifically on the smoothie video, if I'm not mistaken, in the sacral chakra papaya banana smoothie video. So how do you know when something is working, especially when it's a spell related? So I wanted to come on really quickly just to kind of answer that question, because I do feel like, especially because I've been getting a lot of newbie witches and brujas on the channel, which is great. Welcome to the TigeraGitana club. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified anytime I upload. But I did want to come on and just really address that question, because I do feel like that is a question that can seem like it should be like a little bit obvious, but at the same time it might not be to some people, especially if you are new to your practice. So I just wanted to kind of give my insight on, helping you guys navigate the outcomes of your spells and stuff like that. So I guess we're gonna have to kind of break down the different types of spells and the different types of outcomes that you can receive. Now, when it comes to something like, for example, food related, when you're working with food in spells, and when you're using food in spell work, or ingredients or herbs in spell work, they, especially when you're intaking them directly into your physical body, you do have to understand that because we are in a physical form, since we are in a physical form, this is the physical realm, physical things have a faster impact on our body. And when I say faster, I mean, like, as far as how you feel intaking them. Some of the, as far as medicinal properties, can take a longer time and more investment in time for you to actually see the benefits and how it's working on your body. There's a reason why medications work the way they do, and there's a reason why certain things take a little bit of time to work. Certain things work really a little bit faster. Certain things, you have to put time into it. Physical realm work and spell work, you need to allow time to develop, because that's very Saturnian. I'm getting into astrology right now real quick, but you guys know I'm a Capricorn, so I can't just avoid, all physical realm kind of energy is very Saturnian in nature. And so time and how, things progress, how fast you see something happening, how slow it's taking, how much time you need to invest in taking it and consuming it, or practicing it and doing it again. It's very Saturnian. You're working within Saturn's, like, pretty much, I don't want to say limitations, but basically within Saturn's time. So when it comes to food, for example, if you are hungry and you feel like, and this is really how spells work too, if you're hungry, you are in need to eat, right? Your body's telling you, hey, I need this. So that goes for pretty much anything else that you feel like you need. You need a lover, then you're going to try to do something about it. So same thing when your body's telling you, hey, you're hungry, you're going to feed your body. And then you feel, when you feel full, when you feel like you ate, then boom, you already resolved that within the time space allotted to that situation. It's very similar when it comes to physical healing spells, but it does depend on your sensitivity for you actually to feel the the effects. Some things take longer than others. It does depend, especially when it comes to food related spells. For example, if you're sick, or maybe you have like a sore throat or something like that, and you drink some ginger tea, for example, it will obviously begin to soothe your sore throat relatively quickly, because that's just what that specific herb does, and it helps heal. Ginger is really, really amazing for healing work, and so you see the effects of it healing you relatively quickly. It's the same thing within spell work, because that in itself, to me, it's spell work. When you're cooking and when you're doing stuff like that, like personally, that's spell work to me. So when it comes to any type of cooking spells and things that target the chakra space, I personally like to listen to the way my body feels afterwards, after I consume that which I just spent time creating and blessing and praying over and then consuming it. I like to listen to how my body feels afterwards. Does it feel light? Does it feel, especially that specific area? And if you're kind of getting into any kind of like kitchen witch magic type of stuff, and you're just actively consuming and setting intention for the food that you eat and stuff like that, how you feel afterwards, you do have to at some point get to the point where you start listening to the way your body's reacting to the things that you are consuming, because it's the same effect with that representation is the same effect to how your body reacts to how your physical realm reacts to the spells that you put out there, and how you're waiting for them to manifest, waiting to see how they're, how your co-creation is happening. It's the same way you feed yourself, it's the same way you feed your spells. You actually sit and wait. How does it feel? What changed? What not? Did it give you a stomach ache? Did it give you, are you feeling lighter? Are you feeling better? Are you feeling more productive? Do you have energy? Do you feel sluggish? Like all of these type of things just signify like, hey, this is how your body is intaking this that you just took upon your body. So for me, when I'm blessing any type of food that I'm eating, I am very, very careful with working with colors and color magic, and it is really big in my practice, especially when it comes to food. So I do bless everything in according to its color, because I know that it's going to impact that area at the same time. Like it's not just kind of like, is not something I dismiss, or something like, oh, I'm just eating because I want to eat, or oh, I was just craving bananas or craving a banana smoothie. Well, bananas are yellow, and they do correlate and have actual things that they roll and things that they actually help manifest if you use it properly. So if I'm craving a banana, I like to kind of dive in deeper as to, okay, well, what is banana good for? What does it help heal, not only in a physical sense, but in a spiritual sense? And I look at the correspondence, and then I craft cooking spells and stuff like that to work with the tools that I'm using. So I do I do a lot of work when it comes to food, and I think it's really important for us to work with the things that we are constantly taking in, because again, your physical body, what you're bringing into it is the same representation as to what you are creating physically. Once you have fed yourself, how you are feeding your manifestations at the same time. So like, for example, when it comes to any type of energetic spells or any energetic, anything that has to do with energetic witchcraft, or anything that has to do with energetic healing, you tend to feel the shifts relatively right away, but they do linger as well. So there are certain things, like for example, if you get a Reiki session, you're getting an energy healing session, or you're doing some crystal healing session, some sound healing, so anything that has to do with energy healing, you tend to feel the effects, how it's working really, really, really fast, because it's affecting your actual spirit on that, like in that sense, whether like versus how in a physical sense you do have to kind of wait and give it some time to see how it sat with you, see how you're feeling with it, to a degree, because our bodies is so much water. We do connect with the water element, and our feelings about how we take in something that's like food, for example, we tend to create an opinion right away about whatever XYZ was. So I do feel like when it comes to cooking spells and any type of cooking magic, you do tend to feel things right away. If you're doing something consistently and making like, like a specific smoothie for targeting a specific chakra, a specific healing that you're trying to do for yourself, obviously if it's like a disease or something like that has developed to such a degree that it takes more power, more intention, more of you to really be consistent and heal, then obviously that's going to take a little bit longer time investment, again, working within Saturn's boundary, for you to actually see the results of that. But when it comes to other types of spells, you might see it might take time or you might not. Like it really, really depends. I find that any type of air magic spells tend to come through kind of relatively quickly. Fire magic spells can come through really, really quickly. Fire is very purifying by nature, but if you're doing a lot of, like, for example, candle magic, because that's both correlated to air and fire, it does tend to move and work kind of relatively quickly, but at the same time, fire spells can take a little bit to, you know, for you to see some results. And there's some fire, for like, for example, within candle magic, that you have to actually redo the spell quite a bit of times just to get things just to really, I guess, solidify. It depends on the spell, to be honest, but to really solidify like what it is that you want and being consistent with your practice and making it, bringing it to fruition. So some things does take a little bit longer time. It really depends on what the intention is, but the way you see, like, as far as how do you know when it's working, is when you actually see that manifestation coming through. However, there, especially because some spells are not about, oh, I have this physical thing in my hand. There are a lot of spells that can be very much about the emotional self, about the physical self, about the mental self. So if you're doing some sort of like head work on yourself, for example, and I'm gonna have another head working spell for you guys really soon, so stay tuned for that. But if, for example, with head work spells, you do have to pay attention and be a little bit more critical when you're trying to see the results of certain things, to know when they're working and to see how the changes have been created, if there's any new habits, if there's anything that has changed, and how you're behaving, how you're feeling about certain topics. Maybe before, one of my favorite things to do with like head working spells, for example, is to stop a bad habit that you don't like about yourself. And when you're doing the head working spell, afterwards actually analyzing your behavior, how you feel about them, certain things, like, and that's how you know if it's working or not, or if you need to do it a little bit more. It's just about listening to that, the amount of water in your physical body, that intuition, that elemental connection to water, where we're actually in touch with our intuition and how it is like directing and navigating certain things. As a Reiki master, I can tell you there's been many times that I've done Reiki healing sessions where I've literally just been intuitively gravitating towards a specific spot of the person's body, because I just felt so very, very heavily that area was really, really blocked. And that is, and then when I go in and do the work that needs to be done, I see how tight it was. It's confirmation to me that, hey, my intuition was right. That area was actually really, really blocked. So it's just about, one, listening to yourself, two, understanding that your body and your circumstances, like, it definitely depends if you're trying to do spells on yourself versus spells on your physical realm reality, because again, manifesting in the physical realm can, you know, manifest in a day, or it can manifest in a couple of months, or it can manifest in a year. It depends on the work that you have to do. It also depends on what blockages you have in your life. It depends on, you know, what's going on in the stars, the astrology of the thing, you know, it depends on a couple of things. But I do feel like the point of mastering your craft is to really know how to work with all of the things and really be able to work your craft in a way that is just seamless. Like you're feeling super in control of what you're doing. You understand why you're doing it on the days that you're doing it, on the times that you're doing it. It's not you know, like about like trying to dismiss, you know, any type of like, or even like not listening to what other people are saying about how you should do this. If you feel like, hey, you know what, I'm intuitively gravitated to doing this way, but somebody said I should do the spell that way. It's really about following your own compass. And so you'll know when your spells are working, you know, when and how to listen to your body. If you just relax, pause, and take a minute to observe, take a minute to listen to yourself, take a minute to see what's going on around you, to also listen to spirit. That's another thing when it comes to how to know when a spell is working. A lot of the times, spirit will be like, they'll communicate to me, especially like, oh, what's going on. Sometimes they won't communicate about a spell that I'm doing, and sometimes they will. My biggest example of that, which I've mentioned a couple of times, was when manifesting Babe. And I think that the reason why they were telling me so much, like, oh, she's coming, she's coming, she's coming, was specifically because they knew that that was something that I wanted, and they knew that that was something I wanted resolved. And I feel like when it comes to any type of love stuff, people can get really, really impatient in certain things. And when it comes to me, because I have my Venus in Aquarius, I can get super detached when I'm not like in a relationship, but just kind of focus on myself, focus on what I'm doing. So at that time, because I was very open to like, hey, you know, this is something that I really would love. Because of that, I feel like Spirit was very much like, hey, just so you're aware, she's coming. She's like, every time I would meditate, every time I would ask for messages, what do I need to know for the day? Like, they would give me like what I needed to know for the day, and then would end it in like, P.S. she's coming. Like, it would always be a highlight of my connection with them. So it's like, and because love and your partner, it can be a really, really big manifestation in life, period. Like, it just can be. It definitely was something that they took time out. That's like 7th house energy. So 7th house energy tends to be like a big area. So they took time out to literally tell me, like, my ancestors were on deck, like, she's coming, you're good, she's coming, she's coming. And then until I met Babe, literally, I stopped having those messages until I met Babe. And that was pretty much the last I've heard it. So yeah, so I feel like it's about listening, it's about paying attention, it's about working with your intuition, and it's also about sitting down and actually looking at where you have been. If you have been trying to manifest like a move, or you know, like a change in career or something like that, and all of a sudden you moved out, you lost your job, maybe you quit your job or you left your job or whatever, you're in a new place, you're in a new state, you're doing X, Y, Z, and B, and you're still like, well, I still haven't gotten that thing that I really asked for, that big thing. But then you look around your circumstances and you're like, wait, but you also moved, you also did all this stuff. Have you not asked yourself, like, maybe you were actually being put in the right spot to be able to receive that thing that you're asking for? So it's about not limiting the possibilities. It's also about not limiting yourself, and understanding your emotions, your intuition, and listening to your body 1000%, especially when it comes to energy healing work. I know that and I know I'm throwing energy healing work within spells because they can be, and that's why I'm throwing it in there. But when it comes to like food and stuff, is really about understanding that every single vegetable, every single fruit has its own energy, has its own properties. And so when you're using them in spell work, they do work in a certain way. When you're consuming them, your body starts absorbing not only all the nutrients, all the vitamins, all the good stuff, but it also absorbs the energy of them. And so you just have to listen to yourself. You have to listen to your body. You have to check on your chakras. And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say in this video. I hope that cleared that question up for my fellow newbie witches out there, because I do feel like this is a topic that could seem like it's literally like, well, Abby, duh. But I feel like also, if you're not understanding how stuff works, you might get a little bit lost in the like, you know, well, I asked for $1 million. It didn't, you know, show up on my doorstep yet, like, kind of thing. Which is, you know, which is just like, you really just gotta pause and reflect on what you're asking for, your intentions, how you're feeling, what your life looks like, how it has changed. All of these kind of questions you do have to stop and just answer for yourself, because I do feel like they're important in the long run. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I hope that you guys found it useful, and let me know in the comments if you want to add anything else that I missed, because I might have. You guys know I talk a lot, so I can like go into rants and stuff. Yeah, so don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified anytime I upload, and don't forget to check out the Patreon, which will be down below. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.